Hello all, welcome to another quick learning. Today I'm going to be going back to Codecademy Python exercises. So we've been through the first 4 sections and now we're on lists and dictionaries. The first free lesson here, Python lists and dictionaries. If you somehow came to this video in the middle of the series, I'll go ahead and put a link down below so you can get started from the start if you want to. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Alright, so introduction to lists. Lists are a data type that you can store a collection of different pieces of information as a sequence under a single variable name. Data types you've already learned about include strings, numbers, and booleans. You can assign items to a list with an expression in the form list name equals, and then you can see bracket, and then you put in your items and then closing bracket. With the items in between brackets, a list can also be empty, so your empty list equals just 2 brackets. Lists are very similar to strings, but there are a few key differences. Alright, the list zoo animals, so we got zoo animals here, and it's equal to this list here. Has 3 items, check them out on line 1, so a pangolin, a cassowary, and a sloth. Go ahead and add a 4th, just enter the name of your favorite animal as a string on line 1 after the final comma but before the closing bracket. Okay, so it's a string, so I'm going to put in parentheses, so I'll just put Wolverine. Let's go ahead and run that. So then this just does, if the length of this list is greater than 3, then it'll print the first animal. First it'll print as text and then the first animal, which since Python starts with a 0 index, this is the first in the list, this is the second, third, and fourth. Access by index. You can access an individual item on the list by its index. An index is like an address that identifies the items placed in the list. The index appears directly after the list name in between brackets like this, list name, first opening bracket, index, then closing bracket. List indices begin with 0, not 1. You access the first item in a list like this, so whatever the list is, bracket with a 0 in it. The second item on the list is at index 1, so etc. Computer scientists love to start counting from 0. Alright, write a statement that prints the results of adding the second and fourth items of the list. Make sure you access the list by index. So we want the results of adding the second. So the second, okay, so we add our code here. And then numbers is the name of the list, and then we access that. So the second item is index 1, plus numbers, and then they want the fourth item, which is index 3. So it's whichever item you want, n minus 1. We'll run that. And there we go, 14 is the answer. New neighbors. List index behaves like any other variable name. It can be used to access as well as assign values. You saw how to access a list index like this. So you do name of the list, brackets, inside the brackets, whichever item you want. You can see how assignment works on line 5, so the same thing. You just use equal to assign it to whatever is on the right side of that equal sign. Write an assignment statement that will replace the item that currently holds the value tiger with another animal as a string. It can be any animal you like. Tiger. Sorry, did I say tiger? I was thinking something else. Alright, so we want the code here. So we're going to go zoo animals. And then tiger is, so we got 0, 1, 2, 3, so tiger is number 3. And we're going to be any animal I like. So let's change it back to Wolverine. Next, late arrivals and list length. A list doesn't have to have a fixed length. You can add items to the end of a list anytime you like. So we assign the list of letters with A, B, and C, and then we append to the letters D. So this will add D to the end of the list. And then it prints the length of letters, which would be 4, and then prints letters, which would be A, B, C, D. All right. On lines 5, 6, and 7, append 3 more items to the suitcase list, just like the second line in the example above. Maybe bringing a bathing suit. Then set list length equal to the length of the suitcase list. Okay. So we're going to do suitcase dot append. Sorry, not the brackets. I'm putting that, and we'll put hat. Let's see, they want 3 more items. Okay. Suitcase dot append. I don't know. What do we want to put? Towel. And sunblock. Then we're going to set this to length of the list. So we just do len of suitcase. There are %d items in the suitcase, so this %d is going to be replaced by what we assign to list length, which is the length of suitcase list, so that's going to be 4, and then it's going to print suitcase, which is just going to be the list. Sunglasses, hat, towel, sunblock. List slicing. Sometimes you only want to access a portion of a list. Consider the following code. Okay, so we've got a list. We call it letters, and we go A, B, C, D, E, A, B, C, D, E, and then we're taking a slice of letters from 1 to 3. So because we start with 0, we're going to start with this number. We're going to do these 2 actually, because it's actually not inclusive of the final number. What is this code doing? First, we create a list called letters, and we take the subsection of the list and store it in the slice list. We do this by defining the indexes we want to include after the name of the list. In Python, when we specify a portion of a list in this manner, we include the element with the index 1, but we exclude the element with the second index 3. Next, we print out slice, which will print BC. Remember, in Python, indices always start at 0, so the 1 element is actually B. Finally, we print out A, B, C, D, E. Notice that we did not modify the original letters list. All right, on line 7, create a list called middle containing only the 2 middle items from suitcase. So we're going to do suitcase, and we're going to slice that. So let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 3 and 4 would be the middle ones, but since we have a 0 index, it's 0, 1, 2. So it'll start with 2. This is 3, and then we have to put 4 because the last number is not included in the next list. So we'll do the same thing with this one, where they want index 4 and 5. So we're actually going to do 4 colon. If I don't put it, so this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I don't put anything after the colon, it'll just go to the end of the list. And that's correct. Slicing lists and strings. You can slice a string exactly like a list. In fact, you can think of strings as lists of characters. Each character is a sequential item in the list starting from index 0. So my list, it's slicing the first two items because it would be 0 and 1. You don't include the last item. And then this one would grab 3 to the end of the list. So this would be the fourth item to the end of the list. If your first slice includes the very first or last item in a list, the index for that item doesn't have to be included. Assign to dog a slice of animals from index 3 up until but not including index 6. Okay, so we're going to do animals, that's the name of the list, and we want from index 3 up to but not including 6. And then frog, we want a slice of animals from index 6 until the end of the string. So there we go. Sorry, not a semicolon, a colon. So this would print out, so 0, 1, 2. It's going to start here, 3, 4, 5. So that's going to be dog. And then starting at 6 till the end is going to be frog. All right. Maintaining order. Sometimes you need to search for an item in a list. Okay, so we got animals list. First we created a list called animals with 3 strings. When we print the first index, that contains the string bat, which will print 1. So we're just doing animals.index. It's looking for the bat item and it's giving you the index of that. So it's 0 and it's going to return 1. You can also insert items into a list. So we got animals.insert 1 dog. So we insert dog at index 1, which moves everything down by 1. We print out ant, dog, bat, cat. So you can see right at the 1 index, that's where it's inserted it. Use the .index item function to find the index of duck. Assign that result to a variable called duck index. All right. They want that here. So we're going to do, what do we got? Animals .index. We're looking for duck. And then they want us to insert the string cobra at that index. Okay. So we're going to do animals.insert. And we got 2 arguments that we need. We're going to use the duck index that we just created. And then we're going to put in the cobra at that index. So what's going to happen is it's going to first look for duck and it's going to give us the index and assign it to duck index. So it's going to be 0, 1, 2. So 2 is going to go here. And then with this insert statement, it's going to go 0, 1, 2. Okay, insert cobra here and push everything down. So it'll be advark, badger, then cobra, then duck, then emu, then fennec fox. As such. For one and all, if you want to do something with every item in the list, you can use a for loop. If you've learned about for loops in JavaScript, pay close attention. They're different in Python. A variable name follows the for keyword. It will be assigned the value for each list item in turn. So you've got for some variable, and then in this case, a list name. Then in list name designates list name as the list the loop will work on. The line ends with a colon, and then the indented code that follows it will be executed once per item in the list. Write a statement in the indented part of the for loop that prints a number equal to 2 times number for each list item. Okay, so all they want here, I guess, is to print 2 times number. So we're going to get a new line for each number. We're going to get 2, then 18, then 6, then 16, then 10, then 14. More with for. If your list is a jumbled mess, you may need to sort it. So you can see there, we got animals. First we created a list called animals with 3 strings. The strings are not in alphabetical order. Then we sort animals into alphabetical order. Note that .sort modifies a list rather than returning a new list. Then for each item in animals, we print that item out as ant, bat, cat in their own line each. So the for loop just prints each animal in the animals list. Write a for loop that iterates over start list and appends each number squared to square list, then sort square list. Okay. For. So we can put any variable we want here in the for loop. Let's just do x, and then we're going to do in start list, and then we need a colon, and then the next line will be indented, and then we're going to do square list dot append to that list, and we're going to do x squared. Now I just chose x, but it doesn't have to be x. You can put y here. That you just have to put y here instead. And then sort square list. All right, square list dot sort. Let's see if I did that right. Yep, sorted the squares there. Next. The next part is key. A dictionary is similar to a list, but you access values by looking up a key instead of an index. A key can be any string or number. Dictionaries are enclosed in curly braces like so. So we're assigning D this dictionary. So we've got a key and then a value after a colon, and then comma, another key and a value, and so on. This is a dictionary called D with 3 key value pairs. The key 1 points to the value 1, key 2 to 2, and so on. So key 1, 1, key 2, 2, key 3, 3. Dictionaries are great for things like phone numbers, pairing a name with a phone number, login pages, pairing an email address with a username, and more. Print the values stored under the sloth in Burmese Python keys. Accessing dictionary values by key is just like accessing list values by index. So their example here is you've got a residence dictionary and you're looking up the puffin key. So you just put it in brackets. Check the hint if you need help. All right. So they want us to print the values stored under sloth. So we got the residence dictionary. And we're going to look under sloth. And then we'll do the print statement for residence. And we're looking for the key Burmese Python. So what this is going to do is it's going to look in the residence, it's going to find sloth, and then it's going to return this value of 105. And the same thing with Burmese Python, it will return 106. There we go. You can see 104 because there was a print statement up here also looking for the puffin value. New entries. Linked list dictionaries are mutable. This means that they can be changed after they are created. One advantage of this is that we can add new key value pairs to the dictionary after it is created like so. So just do dictionary name. In brackets, you put in the new key and you put the value after the equal sign. The len of a dictionary is the number of key value pairs it has. Each pair counts only once, even if the value is a list. That's right. You can put lists inside dictionaries. Add at least 3 more key value pairs to the menu variable with the dish name as a string. For the key and the price, a float or an integer as the value. Here's an example. Okay. So we'll do chicken Alfredo. Oh, we created an empty, oh, they want us to add more, sorry. So they want us to do menu. Let's do pizza. We're gonna equal, so if the chicken Alfredo's that, we'll say 21.50. They want at least 3 more, okay. Menu, soda, it's gonna be $3. And then menu, fried rice, say 15. All right. That's correct. Changing your mind, because dictionaries are mutable, they can be changed in many ways. Items can be removed from a dictionary with a del command, just like this. Del, and then you put the dictionary name and key in brackets. We'll remove the key name and its associated value from the dictionary. A new value can be associated with a key by assigning a value to the key link, so, and then assign it like we did before. Delete the sloth and Bengal tiger items from zoo animals using del. Okay. I can't type today. So we want sloth deleted. And then, oops. Bengal tiger deleted. Set the value associated with rock hopper penguin to anything other than Arctic exhibit. Okay, so then we're going to do zoo animals. I'm just going to copy this so I don't spell it wrong. Let's put on display. There we go. Remove a few things. Sometimes you need to remove something from a list. So we got Beatles, John, Paul, George, Ringo, and Stewart. And then we used Beatles.remove to remove Stewart. And then we print Beatles. This code will print John, Paul, George, Ringo. We create a list called Beatles, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so just what I said, I guess. All right, so we're going to remove dagger. So we're going to go backpack dot remove, and we're going to look for the dagger item. And okay, so this will just remove that item, and that's correct. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this. Let's go over a few last notes about dictionaries. So here's a dictionary. In the example above, we created a dictionary that holds many types of values. The key fish has a list. The key cash has an int. So here you see there's a list. Here's an int. And the key luck has a string. Finally, we print the letter C. So you can see first it's calling a dictionary and it's calling the fish item. And then within that list, it's calling the first item, which is C. When we access a value in the dictionary like my dict fish, we have direct access to that value, which happens to be a list. We can access the item at index 0 on the list stored by the key fish. Add a key to inventory called pocket. All right. So we're going to add pocket. Pocket is the key. And then we do colon and give it a value. To be a list consisting of the strings, these strings. So to be a list, we got to put the brackets. And then I will copy these, comma, lint. All right. Sort the items in the list stored under the backpack key. Okay. Your code here. Actually, let's do this differently. Let's do this. Because they want me to put my code here. So I'm going to do inventory. And I'm going to do pocket. I'm going to set it equal to this list. I'm going to get rid of this. And then they want me to just sort the items in the backpack key, so I'm going to do inventory backpack dot sort. So this is going and getting the backpack item, which is a list, or value I should say, and it's sorting that list. And then they want me to remove dagger from the list of items stored under backpack key. So again, I can do backpack dot remove and dagger. Add 50 to the number stored under the gold key. So we're going to do inventory. Let's look at, so gold is just one item. And it's an integer, so I'm just going to do this, plus equals 50. So that's going to take the 500 and add 50 to it. And that's correct. All right, I hope you guys are able to follow along with the list and dictionaries part of Codecademy. I will be going through the rest of the Python Codecademy if you want to keep following along. Until then, thank you very much.